Luther, can you hear me?
Hey, just popped in.
Okay.
Hi.
Cool. I was gonna say, do you wanna go ahead and start recording?
Oh yeah, it's already recording.
Cool, thank you.
Yes. Hi everyone. If you can, if you're in a spot that allows you to, go ahead and unmute. I'm sorry, not unmute, but begin your video so we can see your faces. If not, it's all good. You can follow along, and we'll turn it over to Yvette and the McNair Scholars Program. Thank you.
Welcome everyone. It looks like we have several people logged on already, so I think this is a good time to get started. I am going to be sharing my screen, so just give me a minute to make sure this is all set up. Let's see, does that look okay? Can everybody see this okay if I give me a thumbs up? Yes, okay, awesome. So welcome everyone. My name is Yvette Martinez Vu. I am the Assistant Director of the McNair Scholars Program on campus, and I'm happy to be the one to introduce you to our program, to also introduce you to some of our current scholars who are gonna have a couple of minutes each to share about their experience with the program and doing research on campus, and hopefully it'll motivate some of you to get involved. I'm someone who comes from a first-gen, low-income background. I did research as an undergrad. I did a program very similar to STEP when I was a freshman, so it feels really nice to be able to come full circle. I know we have some of our scholars who also did STEP when they were freshmen, so it'll be nice for you to hear them. But before we get started with you hearing the students, I'm going to talk to you about our program. So what is the McNair program? It's actually called the Ronald E. McNair Scholars Program. It's a federally funded program that aims to diversify academia. So the mission of the McNair program is to get more low-income, first-generation, and underrepresented students into graduate school, specifically into PhD programs, and ultimately to get those individuals to diversify academia. That way we have more people of color, more low income or first gen folks in higher education. It's a national program. You actually have to apply for a grant every 5 years to get a McNair program on your campus. And currently there are 187 programs based on the last grant cycle. So there are 187 nationwide. Not every campus has one. And it's named after Dr. McNair, Dr. Ron.
How did it work out today?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if someone said anything, but I'll keep going. So the program is named after Dr. Ron McNair. He was a renowned physicist. He was the second African-American to go into space. And unfortunately, he passed on the Challenger, US Challenger in 1986. But the program is named after him because of you know, what he stands for, which is pursuing higher ed and obtaining a great career. So I wanted to talk a little bit about eligibility because in your sophomore year, you'll be hopefully eligible to apply to our program. These are the requirements, and most of these are actually mandated by the Department of Education. It's not our requirements in UCSB, but it's like federal requirements. You do have to have a 3.0 to apply. You have to have completed at least 60 units or be, considered sophomore standing. We have 2 admission cycles, so you can apply your sophomore year, you can apply your junior year. You do need to be a US citizen or permanent resident. Again, unfortunately, that is a federal requirement. You have to have a strong desire to want to pursue a PhD, although some of our students go into master's programs right after instead of straight into a PhD. So long as you're interested in graduate school, that's what we're interested in. And then you have to be low income as defined by US Department of Education and first generation or underrepresented. So you can be low income and first gen or underrepresented based on how they define underrepresented, which is if you self-identify as one of the following. If you self-identify as African American, Hispanic / Latinx, Native American and Alaskan, Pacific Islander, or Native Hawaiian. Those are their categories. So why even do the McNair program? Why get involved in research? Why commit to doing 2 years with us? Because it is a 2-year program. These are some of the benefits. You get personalized grad school preparation. So you'll have access to a full staff that includes a director, an assistant director, 2 to 3 grad students, and a writing specialist. And we all are there to help you with whatever aspect of grad school preparation, research, even in some cases like personal issues you may be going through. You get faculty mentorship. So you are required to be working with a faculty mentor the entire time that you're in the program. And if you don't have one, we'll help you identify and secure one. You get research training and community, both through our seminars and through any suggestions and referrals that we give you to get involved in other programs on campus as well. You also get to present at conferences. Despite the pandemic, our students still got to present at virtual UCLA National McNair Conference this year. So no matter what, we'll find a way for you to have presentation opportunities. You'll get preparation for the graduate record exam, which is kind of like the SAT for graduate school. And then you'll get fee waivers to apply to graduate school, because believe it or not, you have to apply to each school individually and they all cost a lot of money. So we thankfully can provide fee waivers to our scholars for most programs that they apply to. And then this is the last page of benefits. You get to present or publish your research in our journal. We have a research journal that we publish every year. And if you don't have an opportunity to publish in an academic journal in your discipline, then we'll provide you with that publication opportunity. That way, most of our students walk out and graduate with a publication on their CV, which is their academic version of their resume. You also get a stipend in the summer for the research that you conduct with us, and we require for you to complete an 8-week summer program. And you get funding, additional funding for things like becoming a member of an academic association, or if you have certain research supplies that you need to purchase, we'll provide funding for that. We provide funding for travel to conferences and so on. All right, so we mentioned the eligibility and then the benefits, but what are the actual requirements once you're in the program? What do you have to complete once you're in to, complete our program? So you do have to be in the program for 2 years, which is why we recruit students either at the end of their sophomore year or at the start of their junior year. And the start of the junior year, usually we try to prioritize transfer students, but we also admit juniors. You do have to complete seminars. So sometimes they're weekly, sometimes they're bi-weekly. You're expected to be doing research, so you have to complete a research project that you turn into us by the time you graduate. You complete at least 1 summer program, but those that are admitted as sophomores, which could be some of you, you'll get to do 2 summers. And the first summer is usually with us, and the second summer, we help you apply to other summer programs so that you can kind of go off and test the waters at another university. And there are still external summer programs that are running, again, that are running completely online, but you still have access to faculty from other universities, which is nice. And then lastly, you're required to present your research. So we'll have you present on campus, we'll have you present at a national association, and we'll strongly encourage you to present and help you present at a national conference in your field as well. All right, this is my last slide, and then we're gonna get to the students. Who can apply and when? Like I mentioned, you can apply either your sophomore or your junior year. Our application period that's coming up in the fall is for new transfer students and current junior standing students. And then in January, we'll have an application cycle for current sophomore standing students. So what does that mean for you? That means that you will be able to apply late January 2022, since you're freshmen right now, and that'll be in your sophomore year. And that means that you can get started in research, through other venues by, maybe doing lab work or working on an independent study course with someone, and get some kind of experience before you apply to McNair. You're not required to have research experience to apply, but it does help you. It makes you stand out. So if you're interested, we would encourage you to try to get involved in research. Maybe not your first quarter, but maybe your second or third quarter of your freshman year, if you're interested. All right, so now is the time for me to introduce you to our panelists, and each of them, like I said, is going to get 5 minutes to talk to you about who they are, their experience with McNair, and their experience doing research on campus. So our first speaker is Xochitl, and I think I'll just introduce everybody as they speak. So I won't read everybody's name right now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that way you can see Xochitl. All right.
Right before you start, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to spotlight your video, Xochitl,
Okay.
so they can see who's talking.
Let me know when you guys are ready.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Xochitl. I did STEP way back in 2016. So like Yvette said, it's really rewarding to come back and like sit here, like talk to you all. Of course, it was different. It was in Gervets, but I really like the like adaptability and the fact that STEP is still happening. STEP was like a huge fundamental like path in my career as an undergraduate. So the first time I heard about McNair's and research was during like the STEP panel that you all are attending. And so my sophomore year, like my freshman year, I had like a difficult transition period. I didn't have the best grades, but I really wanted to like be better about academics. And I felt like if I was maybe more engaged with my academics, like I could get involved, right? And I remember sitting here and hearing about like really cool research. So I like got like very minimally involved in research in the education department, and I applied to McNair's, and like I was really surprised I got in, but then I got in, and my like last 3 years have changed so much because of McNair's. So I'm like honest, and like I'm not like a 4.0 student, so like don't feel like that's like the like ideal like student that you have to be involved in research. And so like I didn't even know what research was when I came into UCSB, but research is basically like, let's say you're interested in a topic, it's really the development and like curiosity of like furthering that topic, right? So my research specifically looks at how Latinx students are engaged in the university, because it is a Hispanic serving institution. So I've interviewed students when they were like in their second year, and then again I interviewed them this spring when they were fourth years, and I tracked like their progress and like how they felt the university was serving them. And it was really cool because I got to like present my research virtually this year at a national conference, and I've gotten my papers published. And like having a faculty mentor to support me has really pushed me to like be better in academics, has really pushed me to like believe in myself. And like political science, but I like don't really like the political science department because I just felt very detached. A lot of feelings like of imposter syndrome. I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm not as smart as these people. I can't write like these people. I came in and I was so ashamed because I had to take writing 1. And being in McNair's has really helped me develop my critical thinking skills, as well as like believing in myself and like my writing abilities. And so like being in this program is really cool because it's helped me like engage my research as well as engage my writing and engage myself. It's helped me believe in myself. And the best part about this is you develop a community with like your fellow scholars. You're like up late in the McNair office during like finals week, working on your research, working on your papers, and having that really pushes you, right? Especially because it's like first gen, like underrepresented students, a lot of times, not only do we feel like, oh my gosh, we don't belong in undergraduate schools, like we don't belong in like master's programs, right? There's only like, I think something like 5% of like Latino males who like will graduate from like their master's or their PhD programs. And so a program like McNair's really helps us like change those numbers. And yeah, like if you all ever have any questions, I more than encourage you all to like reach out to me about like how to get involved. I think it's like a really good opportunity. You all should at least keep in the back of your head, but there are like other ways to get involved too. Like research and stuff like that.
Thank you so much, Xochitl. We're going to move on to our next speaker, and that is Marco. We're ready when you are. And I think you might be muted. And if we, yes, like say something else?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so you're good. We're good now.
All right. So yeah, I'm Marco, and I'm moving on to my senior year of undergraduate, chemical engineer, and a little bit about my background. I immigrated to the U.S. when I was about like 2 years old. So I guess I didn't really immigrate. My mom really did. But the point is that nobody, my mom came over here because nobody in my family had ever reached any like higher education, and although it wasn't really a big problem, it really sort of limited my family's like capacity, financially, and even I guess you could say maybe socially. But the main reason I want to pursue graduate school is because it really broadens your sort of career attainability, your career choice. Like, I mean, if somebody sees that you have a PhD in something, they're definitely going to put your application at the top of the pile. And besides that, I mean, like, your pay is just so much better. So that's another reason why graduate school, I think, is a good career path if you feel like you're very interested in a certain topic. But besides that, like, research, what's really needed in research or to get to graduate school is research experience. And like, on top of that, like good grades, as we all know. But the McNair program is a great sort of leading path to achieving research, because like, anybody in UCSB can go ask a professor for a research position, but the students that sort of get priority, at least from what I've seen, are ones that have a research program backing them up. And so for me, it was a little easier going to talk to my professor and telling him like, hey, I'm part of the McNair program, and I want to do research with you, like, could we talk about this more? And it was like I got to talk to him literally the day after. And I've heard like from other friends that don't have research programs, they've sort of had a little more difficulties getting those certain positions. So that's sort of why I, at least right now, I guess I'm trying to motivate you guys to look for a research program, so that it's easier for you to test out research just in general, because you might like it, you might not, but the best thing I think is to try it out. And so a few things that I'm really proud of, that I've gotten out of the McNair program is my ability to present professionally. I mean, with McNair, I've presented 4 times professionally, which is something that just is like looks stellar on a resume. And so that's another reason why I think you guys should join the McNair program. And besides that, it's taught me how to present in general, which is or communicate. It's a really great skill that you need in especially in education, because before I was a little shy to present. I didn't really know how to plan out my presentations, but when I met my professor, I gotta be honest, it was a little scary, because he told me every week you're gonna have to present to me and you're gonna have to show me all your results. And the first time I came in, I was like, all right, I got this. I've presented in classes before, I should be fine. And he just destroyed my presentation. He was like, like in very simple terms, he said my presentation was garbage. And like to me that was really like you know, it was shocking. I was like, wow, like really, like damn, I did that bad. But you know, it just pushed me to prepare myself a lot more. And I think that's just a part of research that is a very useful skill to sort of, you know, or yeah, it's just a very useful skill, I guess. um, but really, I just encourage all of you to try out research at least one time while you're at UCSB. So yeah, thank you guys. And if you have any questions, definitely let me know.
Thank you so much, Marco. We're going to move on to our next speaker, and that is Isaiah.
Okay, hello everyone. So my name is Isaiah Skazai. I'm a rising junior at UCSB, and I study psychological and brain sciences and philosophy. A little about me, you know, as well as being a student and taking classes, I currently work as a resident assistant in the residence halls, and I'm also an undergraduate peer mentor in the College of Letters and Science. And you know, with that said, I've actually been working part-time since the very first day I set foot on campus. And I say this because I imagine many of you want to take full advantage of what UCSB offers. You know, this, among other things, includes the abundant research opportunities that you know, UCSB provides. But I also expect that a good amount of you will also have some other commitments, some necessary commitments, such as, you know, having to work part-time. And so, you know, I just want to let you know now that it's actually, you know, completely possible to work part-time and participate in research activities, as well as, you know, take advantage of all the other things that UCSB offers. As far as, you know, the aspects of my life that's a little more relevant to this presentation is that I'm also an undergraduate researcher at UCSB, and I'm also a McNair scholar. I just joined in February of this year, because the earliest you can join is your second year. And so I currently work in two research labs. One is a computational psychology lab, and the other one is a social psych lab that studies morality. And I've actually been involved in research since my freshman year. And as far as my research interests, I'm interested in studying moral psychology and emotion, which is, you know, something they call affective science. But in terms of advice, I have just two quick tips. One is a little bit more broad and philosophical, and so a little less specific, but the other one is actually very specific. And the first advice I would give is take agency, because you know, I've actually had the experience of presenting an undergraduate research 101 presentation with IRCA, which is the Undergraduate Research in Creative Activities department here at UCSB, which is essentially the general department that you consult with when you're doing undergraduate research here. They're the people that give you the grants and do all those things and let you present in the UCSB presentations and stuff. And the main thing that we focused on was that taking agency is the number one thing, because sending that email to the professor, letting them know that you want to join their lab or do an honors thesis with them or anything like that is the key to any experience. And you know, I could give you specific advice based on your discipline, but the advice that's quite universal and applies to every single person is that in order to get involved in research and work with professors, is you have to talk to them. And I know that's a very daunting thing, but it's something that gets better with practice. And you know, it started with me, you know, a very naive email that I sent as a first year, but developed into, you know, me joining the lab as a first year, even doing some basic data collection, and then essentially evolving within the lab and being given more senior opportunities. And then the second thing I wanted to say, this is actually very interesting to say, is join academic Twitter. If you're someone that's serious in like wanting to go to grad school, we live in a digital world where you get to follow people on social media, and through that you get to learn a lot about people and their work. And so one thing that actual grad schools are teaching in their presentations, and I know this because last week I was at a grad school preparation workshop. They said, join academic Twitter, and what that means is that follow the professors that you possibly want to work with. And it's really an informal way of learning what science is like, learning what research is like, and what actual professors are doing in real time. And you get to stay updated with job opportunities, research opportunities. Through academic Twitter alone, I've actually heard of some opportunities across the nation that I applied to. And this summer I actually applied to an essay contest that was for undergraduates, and I won. And that was solely because I decided to follow these people, and I get to follow professors at Harvard, follow professors at Stanford, and I get to see them interact with each other in real time, give off real science, and you get to see them deliberate with each other, and it's something surreal, right? It's like you're sitting there listening to them talk about their breaking science, and it's really something you can do right now. I suggest you follow them because that is something that's actually being taught in all these grad school preparations. This is like breaking news, like academic Twitter. So lastly, you got this, and if you want to talk to me or contact me, I'm also more than happy to give advice and talk about other things. Yeah.
That was like right on the dot. 5 minutes. All right. Thank you so much, Isaiah. I think we're ready to move on. And I see that actually Xochitl posted a link to the IRCA FRAP website. So definitely check that out so you can learn more about research on campus. Our next speaker is Simran.
Hi, everyone. My name is Simran, and pronouns are she or hers. This year, I'm going to be a fourth-year student in the econ department, and I'm also minoring in math. So I actually participated in STEP in the summer of 2017, before my freshman year at UCSB. And I remember attending this very panel in Gravets, and learning a lot more about the research at UCSB, as well as like the McNair program. And I remember it being a very like enlightening experience. So I hope I can provide that for you all today. Yeah. So I actually got involved with research during my sophomore year at UCSB through something called FRAP. So FRAP's like this website that publishes like where professors go and they publish openings for like undergraduate researchers. And so like they'll describe their project a little bit and they'll be like, oh, I'm looking for someone who has these skills or like these interests. And if you're interested, like, contact me. But yeah, I think about FRAP is it's not always super useful because some of those like, entries are like very outdated. And then some like, openings are not even on FRAP, but, I'd be glad to talk more about that later. But I found an opening from Professor Summer Gray in the Environmental Studies Department. And she was, putting together a team of undergraduate researchers who would all be focusing on different aspects of her project, which was the Thomas Fire and the Montecito mudslides that happened in the fall, winter of 2017 here in Santa Barbara. And, through the research topic, it didn't like perfectly align with like what I wanted to research, but it did like, have like similar, I guess, like aspects to my research interest. And I mainly did it just so I could like, get some experience and like, figure out whether this like research thing is like really for me or not. And I'm glad I did because it really, it did help me build a lot of experience, help me build like connections with professors. And it also helped like, when I went to go apply for McNair in the spring of my sophomore year. So then when I joined McNair, I actually, you have to find a faculty mentor, and I decided to go with someone who was actually an economist just because, like I'm an econ major and that's what my research interests really are. And I found Dr. Andrew Plissinga, who teaches in the Brent School, which is like a graduate school. They don't offer any undergraduate degrees. And I started doing, research that's more related to environmental economics, which is like what I'm super interested in. And yeah, since then, McNair's really helped me, I guess, not just like, be more like proactive about connecting with professors and like, doing research, building, experience in terms of like writing papers related to my research and like presenting. It's also like really helped me find like a community of like first gen students who have like similar interests as I do. And like, we're kind of like, going through this like research process of applying to grad school like together. And so like that's also been really cool. And then yeah, so that's kind of like my experience with research at UCSB so far. I think the main thing I want to like, the main advice I'd want to give to you guys, it's kind of like related to what Isaiah said about, you know, taking agency. I know that as like first gen students, especially, it can be very difficult for us to like, you know, make that first step of reaching out to professors, you know, maybe because of imposter syndrome, or maybe, you know, just because like it's super intimidating, right? Because, you know, you have like these feelings of like, oh, I don't have like the experience or the skills, or like, you know, I'm not really qualified enough to be doing this. But, you know, at the end of the day, you're not going to be qualified unless like you get out there and you like go after these experiences. But yeah, I'd really encourage you guys to really, you know, find some sort of confidence and, you know, like take action and reach out to these professors, because, you know, like the worst thing that can happen, they can say no, but, you know, even if they do, there's literally hundreds of other professors on this campus that you can reach out to, if things don't go perfect with your first try. But yeah, you know, reach out to professors, and also, you know, utilize them as a resource, utilize other students as a resource, your TAs as a resource. Just like, you know, reach out to people. That's really the main advice I want to give to y'all. But yeah, I hope today I can answer any questions you may have related to research or the McNair program, or, you know, just about UCSB in general. And even if I don't get to answer those questions today, I hope you reach out and yeah, use me as a resource. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Simran. And now we're going to move on to our last speaker, and that is Carolina.
Hi everyone, my name is Carolina Ramirez Moreno, pronoun she, her, hers. I am a senior doing Chicano Studies, Spanish and Portuguese majors, and I am part of the staff program, the staff as a team leader, as you may know, and also part of the McNair Scholars since fall 2019. And a little bit about myself, well, a little bit of background is that I was born here in the U.S., but I was raised in Mexico City, and I came back to the U.S. in 2011. So I think that's really important for me to say in order to explain more about the research and why I emphasize on my topic. So I got into the McNair program, as I said, during fall of 2019. And for me, it has been a great support for, you know, like networking, and also get connected with other students with similar experiences, either like as a first generation, personal or academic. And it's also, I want to pursue a PhD because it's more like a personal fulfillment, you know, like of the sacrifices that the family members do for the students. Any advice for the students is that if you're interested in a class, in a specific class, take it and go to office hours, ask questions to your TAs. It's never too late to get into research. And if you have, maybe you can email the professors and email them if they have any assignments that you can work with, and you don't have to limit yourself to your major. You can, as the other student said, you can go to other majors and explore. If you don't get it at the first time, you can try with another professor and just like look for the resources that we offer. My research right now is emphasizing on Latinx representation in cultural media, popular culture and media, specifically doing using the Super Bowl, the halftime show with Shakira and Jennifer Lopez, to see how the female body of Latinas get, you know, like represented in the media, and how they are often hypersexualized, even though it's part of their identity. And this is because we often see the stereotype of Latinx women or people of color seen hypersexualized, you know, like, or being seen through the stereotypes. So I think that's one of my main topics, because I'm really attached to my culture. So I just like to see how different gazes see that perspective of the media and the popular culture. What else? if you plan to go to grad school, it's never too late to start looking for programs. But also, you know, like explore the options, the programs, the locations, be patient with yourself and with the process, and be aware of your mental health and all the things that come with that. And look for a faculty mentor that can lead you and also be there for you whenever you need help. And yeah, it's just a great experience. If you have the option or if you want to look into the McNair program, let us know. I was also a STEP member in 2017, and it was the first time when I learned about you know, research experience at UCSB.
Thank you so much, Carolina. So now is your chance to ask questions. I encourage everyone to ask questions in the chat. You can either ask to everyone, or you can send a message to me privately, and I will read it anonymously. If you have specific questions for one of the speakers, just say question for Xochitl, or question for Isaiah's, or whoever it is that you're interested in asking a question to. And I'll go ahead and read them in the order that I received them. We have about 15 minutes, so we'll get to as many questions as we can within that time slot. All right, I see we have a question already. And this question is for anyone of the speakers. What is the best way to draft an email asking for a research opportunity? So maybe one of you can take this question.
Okay, I can quickly take it because in the presentation that I was talking about, I actually gave out an email template. I don't know if I still have it, but really you want to be very concise, and you want to, so professors get a lot of emails. You know, a quick way to find out whether an email is worth clicking on is you want to headline it something like possible opportunity to join your lab, or undergraduate research opportunity first year, something that just really quick, just, you know, get in and get out. And it's going to say something of the lines of, hello, my name is Isaiah Skazai. I'm a first year studying psychological and brain sciences. You know, I came across your lab and I found this, and this interesting. And you want to be a little more specific and say something about their research or maybe a paper. And then you quickly want to go in and just say, if possible, would it be possible for me to join this lab, or would I be able to, you know, meet you in person, have a discussion? However, with the pandemic, you'll probably have to say something like, would I be able to set up a Zoom meeting with you? But really just be very quickly. And the three things is just say your name, your major, why you're interested in the lab, and then also set up the proposal to meet with them, because yeah, that's it. And they don't have a lot of time, so remember that.
Thank you. We have 2 more questions that I see. The next one is for anyone. Once in the program, in the McNair program, how difficult is it really? And I'm emphasizing the really, although I don't know if that's what they really wanted me to do. So one of you can take this question.
Well, yeah, I'll take a stab at this question. So there's sort of 2 different parts of the McNair program. There's like the year-long program, and then there's like the summer program. And so for the year-long program, it's not too difficult to keep up with all the McNair work because you only have like a few assignments every now and then. But then when it hits the summer program, that's when not only are you doing research with your professor, but you also have to like turn in assignments for the McNair program. And sometimes those assignments are very like hefty. There's a lot of research reading involved, and research writing. And, you know, already writing is a difficult thing for a lot of people. But so I would say the summer program is very intense, but it's very worthwhile. It like makes you feel very accomplished, at least personally. So yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Thank you, Marco. Okay, we have another question, and this one is specifically for Carolina. Carolina, is it easy to double major in Spanish and Chicanic studies?
Yeah, well, it depends on the major. So in this case, since Spanish is in the humanities and Chicano studies could be considered as social sciences, what we have is that I think it's 8 units that we can overlap between Spanish and Chicano studies. So in that case, you have those classes that can overlap and count for 2 majors for both majors, and then a lot of or maybe the first GEs. A few of the GEs can be, once you take Chicano studies, maybe 1A, B, and C, they overlap with GE. So then you have basically more space to have other electives or just take the Spanish classes. But yeah, I'm actually done with Spanish. I just need a few classes for Chicano studies. That's why I have space for Portuguese, because like my class, since the Spanish and the Portuguese department majors are together, there's also overlapping between majors. So it's just like planning your classes and seeing how many units you need.
Thank you, Carolina. All right, we have question for Isaiah specifically. How does your research relate to your end career goal or dream career? And how is pre-psych and brain sciences, how does that schedule work out with this research opportunity?
Okay, it's a big question. So I study, so I'm in psychological and brain sciences, and specifically I study moral psychology, which is how people make moral judgments and decisions. And my career goal is pretty straightforward. It's to get a PhD and then to get a professorship, which means be a professor and do research, and basically do research on what I find interesting. And so my research that I'm doing right now is in direct preparation for graduate school, and graduate school is going to prepare me for my role as a professor. And I think generally I want to be someone that will communicate to a wider audience. And I guess, what was the question? It was what was the second part of the question? The pre-psychological.
How is pre-psych and brain sciences, how does that schedule work out with this research opportunity?
Yeah, it works out quite well. So we go to a research institution, and what that means is that a lot of these majors are actually tailored for being able to do research. What that means is that the classes that you take are not really applied. They're actually focused on research methods. For example, we have 3 research method classes that you have to take. And you also have to take a statistics course. And if you're someone that wants to get a PhD, this is like the perfect opportunity, because all the professors here, they really care about getting undergraduates to do quality research. And so the program that the PBS program offers is amazing, because these professors are willing to take you on. And I'm doing 2 independent projects simply because our school just has the bandwidth to take that. So for other kids that may not be interested in getting into research, this could be much to their chagrin. Like they want to do other things that are a little more applied and vocational. But for me, wanting to do research is great, because we have all this funding, and then we have all this. We have a brain imaging lab, and then I can even do all these things online, right? We have computational stuff that we can do. So the PBS program is great. Like if you actually go on the website, they'll tell you that the program is designed for experimental research psychology. We don't even have a clinical program. So for me, it's quite apt. Yeah.
Thanks, Isaiah. We have another question, and I think I might be the one to answer this one. I'm missing parts of the presentation, so I was wondering, what are the specific requirements to sign up for the McNair program? And so I'm happy to share the slides that I introduced earlier today with the program so that you can have them. But just really quickly, you have to have a 3.0, be sophomore standing to apply, be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, be low income and first gen, or underrepresented in higher ed. And we have more information on our website about what that means. And then obviously, like ultimately, we want you to be interested in graduate school. So those are the main eligibility requirements. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next question, and I'm gonna encourage either Xochitl or Simran to answer this question. How can you find out what research professors are conducting?
So, Simran, you can add if you want.
We have another question that I can go ahead and share, have Simran answer if you want,
Okay.
because we still have more questions.
So I think a good way to do this is, so I would look up, you have access as like, because we are an R1 research training university, to like the library, UCSB library. And so you can input your professor's name, but if you look on your department website, each professor has like a list of their CV, which is like your resume for like academics, on there, and a list of publications, honestly. But the best way I would recommend it is like,
I think she froze, so we'll just wait for her to come back.
Computer. Okay, we're
am I
good.
still frozen?
Oh, you froze for a little bit, so if you want to repeat your last line.
The best way I would recommend, and like professors love to talk about themselves, like it's like a thing, is go to their office hours before weeks 3 and 4 and make yourself known and be like, hi, can you tell me a little bit about your research? I found this and this really interesting, and it relates to what I want to do in life, which is blah, 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 blah. And the professor will go on for like an hour talking about their research. And so then you build that personal connection, and that's really important because that can provide you a letter of rec later on in the future.
Thank you, Xochitl. We have about 5 more minutes, so we'll take a few more questions. And I see we still have a few that I received. This one, I'm going to encourage Simran, if you're up for it, to answer this one. Is it hard to maintain self-discipline while researching and being a full-time student?
Yeah, so I mean, I think to a certain degree that question's subjective, but I think I've been kind of lucky personally in that, you know, my research advisor, she's very like good at like setting like deadlines, like, okay, so like by this week, like I need you to do this. Like even though I'm working on like an independent research project, she's kind of like good at like helping me like create a timeline. And then with McNair, a really cool thing about them is like, you know, they also set like deadlines for you, and that's really good at like, that's really useful on like staying on track. Yeah.
Thank you, Simran. Here's another question, and I may be the one to answer this one. Can you still apply if you are planning to attend medical school? So our program is mostly for students who are interested in getting a PhD. We have had students who have been interested in joint degree programs, like an MD/PhD program or a JD/PhD program. So if you were interested in the research route of the medical research, we would encourage you to apply to our program if you're interested in both a PhD and an MD. If you're just interested in medical school, just MD, you know, you want to become a practicing like medical doctor, this is not the program for you. But very good question. All right, next question is for any student who's up to answer this. Do students receive, and probably not Isaias, because I got a question for you after this one. Do students receive college credits when they do research?
I can answer this one. So when you do research, you enroll in like a 99 or 199, and it really depends on your professor. So FRAP, what I posted earlier, if you sign up through FRAP, the professor gets funding, so that encourages them. And what you get is you get units, you get elective units. If it's specifically for your major, you get upper division or lower division units. But some professors and some labs do offer funding. It's just very seldom. So that's why, like Isaiah said earlier, it's really important that like you like learn how to prioritize and manage your time, because like as first-gen students, a lot of times we do need to work, right? But it is possible to do both. It's just maybe about like having that space in your schedule to have elective units, and it helps because you usually get an A as long as you do your work, so boost your GPA.
And I think we only have one more question left. Oh, I see another one. Okay, so we're gonna answer 2 more questions. This last one I just got, I think that's going to be our last question. So 2 more. The one of them for Isaiah is it easy to double major in psych and brain sciences and biology? I'm not sure if you're double majoring, but I know you mentioned you were in 2 labs, so maybe that's what they're referring to.
Well, so I actually double major, but not in biology. I double major in psychological and brain sciences and philosophy.
Oh, there you go. You should mention, yeah, I think that's the question. Is it like, is
Yeah.
it easy to double major in the 2?
So it depends on the combination of classes you have, but one thing that does make it a little harder to double major is when you have a BS and a BA, which is what I'm dealing with. It's a Bachelor of Science, and then on philosophy, it's a Bachelor of Arts. So what that means is that I have more requirements I have unique requirements on both sides. So I'm taking both of the GE requirements that I have to take on either sides, and do both of those things. But the good thing is that when you do a double major here, you can do this. I think this is what Carolina was talking about with overlapping units. And so there's a couple classes in the psych department that I can take that actually goes towards my philosophy degree. And so when you find out where these majors overlap, then that makes things a lot easier. But really, it's nothing a lot of planning can take care of, because I planned this double major out my first year. And so yeah, if you do the planning, like make a 4-year plan your first year, and think of the double major in mind, that's a good idea, because then later on you can drop the double, and you'll have extra space. So yeah, just start planning now if you want to do any double majors, and yeah, that's it.
So we have time left for one more question, and if the speakers feel comfortable sharing their contact info, now would be a time to do that, because we're wrapping up. So this last question, if whoever feels comfortable answering it, and if not, then I'm happy to take it on. It is, are there any programs like this one for undocumented students? And I'm happy to answer this question if y'all are okay with that. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, this program is federally funded, and so they require that you be a permanent resident or a US citizen. But there are research opportunities for undocumented students. If you are an undocumented STEM student, for instance, we have another program called the Edison Scholars Program, and through that we provide a summer research program, research scholarships, and GRE preparation courses that you would be eligible to apply to. You can check that out on our website. If you go to mcnair.ucsb.edu and /Edison, or there's an Edison link, you can check that out. For other fields, I would strongly recommend that you get involved in a departmental honors program, and you can usually apply at the start of your junior year. And so you can contact an undergraduate advisor in your major to ask them about the departmental honors program, because it'll also be 2 years. You'll get research preparation, you'll work with a faculty mentor, you'll learn research methods. That would be a great opportunity. Additionally, check out the IRCA office, because they have IRCA research grants, they have presentation opportunities, they have the FRAP, Faculty Research Apprenticeship program for you to work one-on-one with professors. If you just want to get started without like committing to like a full year, 2-year program, you could get involved in enroll in a course 99 and get one or 2 units of credit to work one-on-one with the professor for a quarter. So in short, there are opportunities. Check out the IRCA and research websites and contact your department where you're majoring in to see basically to plan out when are the times that you'll be eligible to apply, if it's your freshman, sophomore, or junior year. I think that is all the time that we have. So our speakers, I noticed, shared their contact info. So if you have specific questions for them, jot down their emails. And if you want a copy of our presentation, I'm happy to share it with Luther so that he can share it with you. Thank you so much for your time. I think our time is up, so we appreciate everybody being here.
Thank you so much, Yvette. Really quick, yeah, special shout out to all the students. Thank you so much for being on the panel and making yourselves available. And contrary to what it might seem like, STEP attendance does not automatically put you into McNair. So it's just that these students are former STEPers who were also admitted into as a McNair Scholar Program student. So yes, thank you so much again, and I hope you all really do connect. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Still got a few.
I think you can stop recording now, Lucy.